Farming the land. It has always been a labor-intensive occupation. In 1837, one man changed the world of agriculture forever, making it easier for farmers to be more productive. However, he was credited for something he never invented: the tractor. John Deere was born in Rutland, Vermont in February of 1804 to William and Sarah Deere. When John was 4, his father left for England to collect an inheritance. William never returned, lost at sea.
Things were tough for them growing up. His mother was a seamstress, and she took in laundry and sewed and different things of that nature. He apprenticeshiped when he turned 17. He started his apprenticeship with Captain Benjamin Lawrence in Middlebury, Vermont. And he studied and learned from him, and he became a very good blacksmith. And so he ended up coming out here in 1836, where he was starting to get settled in, but he was a problem solver. And he listened to the people of the town talk about the problems they were having with those old cast iron plows with wooden moldboards that they brought out from back east. Out here we have a rich, thick, fertile soil. Thank God for prairie grass, because that grows 5-6 foot tall, but it's got a root system 15 to 20 foot deep. So John Deere's listening to these people, the horrors of what they had to do to plow back those days. They'd plow 3 or 4 feet and have to stop and scrape the muck off the plow. Plow another 3 or 4. It was breaking their backs just to get through the soil, and some of them would give up and go back east. He knew if he could find a piece of steel, high carbon steel or something, he could polish it like he used to do with his mother's sewing needle so it would slide through the fabric better, and he could make something that these people could use, because that's what he did. He was a problem solver. He was the village blacksmith shop, and he developed the first self-scouring steel plow in 1837 from a piece of broken sawmill blade from the town founder, Leonard Andrus. Later in life, in 1843, first part of 1844, he partnered with Leonard Andrus, and they developed a 2-floor plow factory right across the street to harness the power from the Rock River and develop and make plows there. In his original shop, 1837, he built his first self-scouring steel plow. In 1838, he built 2. 1839, 10. 1840, they built 40 plows a year. And by 1843, they were making 400 plows a year in the original building. Now that's mass production in anybody's book, but who's the first guy who gets credit for mass production? Henry Ford in 1903. So 60 years prior, John Deere was doing it right here in Grand Tour, Illinois.
In today's manufacturing, a piece of metal can be stamped out in seconds. In the 1800s, the fire had to be started in the furnace and air had to be pumped in to keep it burning. The fire had to reach temperatures of just below 2600 degrees, almost to the point of melting steel. Once the steel reached the proper temp, it is ready to be shaped with a hammer. The blacksmith pounds it into shape, working as fast as possible as the metal begins to cool off. Then the steel goes back into the fire to be reheated to the proper temp. This process happens over and over, reshaping the metal after each reheating until the desired product is created. It was a hot and physically demanding occupation, requiring hours to produce a plow. Imagine John Deere producing 400 plows in a year in this manner. Keep in mind that Deere worked mostly in the summer with no fans or air conditioning. In the winter, he traveled trying to drum up more business. Deere believed in staying a step ahead of his competition and doing it better than any other company. In Grand Detour, transportation was an issue because of the shallow Rock River. To be closer to the main hub of transportation at the time, the Mississippi River, Deere moved his operation to Moline, Illinois around 1847. This move enabled Deere to be able to sell and ship the plows up and down the Mississippi from St. Paul, Minnesota to St. Louis, Missouri, and up the Ohio and Missouri rivers. Within 2 years of moving to Moline, Deere and his partners were churning out over 2,000 plows a year. In 1857, 10 years after moving to Moline, Deere was producing more than 10,000 plows a year. Deere had a reputation for quality. By this time, John was no longer blacksmithing and was turning his business over to his son, Charles Deere. John was now turning his attention to politics. He was a raging abolitionist, a member of the Whig Party, and a strong supporter of Abraham Lincoln. He passionately debated members of the Democrat Party who were becoming more militant in their defense of slavery. Soon enough, the Civil War was the ultimate debate of the issue. In 1865, tragedy struck. Demarius, John's wife for 38 years and mother of 10, died in February. Just 2 months later, locally known and well-liked President Abraham Lincoln was assassinated in Washington, D.C. While Deere and the nation were mourning, he returned to Vermont, leaving behind his company. While in Vermont and just a little over a year after the death of Demarius, Deere married her sister Lucina. 8 days later, Deere returned with his new wife to Moline. In November of 1872, Ulysses S. Grant won the presidential election. 5 months later, Deere ran for and won the election for mayor of Moline in a landslide. Deere made dramatic changes to Moline's infrastructure. Street lighting, new roads, sidewalks, a fire department, and sewers became the norm. His health failing, Deere moved to California in hopes that climate would help. On May 17, 1886, John Deere passed away, leaving behind a worldwide legacy.